I want to talk about the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. Now, this is the code of law that governs all military personnel. There's been a controversy recently because 6 Democrat members of Congress made a short video, a minute and a half, in which they imply that President Trump has given unlawful orders. The Democrats who appear in the video are all ex-service members. Now, we thank them for their service. So that's why I'm so alarmed by the video they made in which they urged the CIA and U.S. military to disobey the allegedly unlawful orders. The video doesn't specify which orders they're referring to. Now let's watch the video.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military,
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army.
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Now, the video is directed toward the CIA and U.S. military, so presumably they're referring to a military action or actions. I'll say, as a point of reference, the Supreme Court generally defers to the president on military and intelligence matters because those realms of government are frequently classified. The public isn't supposed to know state secrets because it would place our national security in jeopardy. Now, that's why we give the president so much leeway, because if every single decision of the president had to be publicly litigated, the republic couldn't function. America is a representative democracy, not an absolute democracy. That principle is set out in the structure and design of the U.S. Constitution. Regardless, the 6 Democrat members of Congress say in the video that if the allegedly unlawful orders are disobeyed, these 6 Democrats will, and I quote, have your back, unquote. Now, does that sound like sedition or even treason? Now, that's what it sounded like to President Trump. And what are the punishments for sedition and treason? For treason, potentially the death penalty. Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 2381. Now, the definition of treason in the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 3, is levying war against the U.S., and that just means gathering a group of people to overthrow the government. Treason is also defined as giving aid and comfort to enemies of the United States. Under Section 2381, the penalties for treason can include death, imprisonment for at least 5 years, a fine of at least $10,000, and the inability to hold any federal office, okay? A conviction for treason requires the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act or a confession in open court. So it occurs to me that's kind of a low bar. Easy to prove, that is to say. Now, sedition is defined as conspiring to overthrow the government by force, or to oppose by force the authority of the government, or to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law. There are criminal penalties. For example, the 6 Democrat Congress members would be subject to criminal penalties for sedition. The criminal penalties are severe, but not death. Although they could be sentenced to death for treason. I mean, that's just in the law. But for military service members in times of warfare, in extreme wartime cases, the Uniform Code of Military Justice permits the death penalty for sedition as well. So I have to observe here that the video released by the 6 members of Congress is a short video. Too short, because it fails to disclose the potential penalties for sedition for service members. Any criminal defense attorney will tell you that defendants always ask the same question first, unless they're detained before trial. That's different. But if they're not detained, they want to know how much time are they looking at? Okay, what is the maximum possible penalty? Now, the short video we watched didn't disclose that, and it seems to me the reason is because the penalties are prohibitive, up to and including death in severe wartime circumstances when the military has to act with unity and speed. Now, if they had disclosed that, would any service member be tempted to sedition or treason? Probably not. And why would a death sentence be warranted? Because a service member's insubordination could get his or her fellow platoon members or squadron members killed. So that's why treason and sedition for service members are punishable by death under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Now, the Supreme Court of the United States will rarely touch the UCMJ. They rarely intervene in military matters. Now, the president responded to the inflammatory video with tweets that are well-grounded legally. He called for the death penalty, which, as I've explained, has a solid legal basis, and I discussed the legal citations in this video. The short video from the 6 Democrat members of Congress, in contrast, contained no legal citations. So let's try to fill in the blanks that they left. What are examples of plainly illegal orders? 1. Ordering the torture or abuse of detainees. Has President Trump ever given such an order? No. Illegal aliens, many of them murderers and rapists, are being held in secure ICE facilities to await processing and deportation. They're not being tortured. 2. Ordering the intentional targeting or killing of unarmed civilians. Has President Trump given such an order? No. Let's recall that when the president ordered the bombing of Iran's nuke facilities earlier this year, it was a military operation, and any deaths of unarmed civilians was unintended. 3. Ordering the falsification of operational records. Has President Trump ever given such an order? No. Now let's discuss a famous example of an unlawful order that could have been disobeyed. And I use the phrase could have been because the legality of an order, if there's a question, can only be determined after the fact. So the service member is in a bind either way. So let's talk about it. The My Lai massacre. Now, it was the slaughter of unarmed civilians during the Vietnam War. Lieutenant William Calley was court-martialed for his role and convicted. The only person convicted, although 26 were charged. Now, he was sentenced to life in prison with hard labor, but President Nixon ordered that he be moved to house arrest, which lasted only 3 years. Now, given the example of My Lai, it's bizarre to suggest that President Trump has given an unlawful order of that magnitude that must be disobeyed. Now, recently, the U.S. has destroyed drug boats sent by Venezuela, which are carrying cartel members and their poisonous drugs, intended to destroy American lives and to destabilize our way of life. Now, the U.S. military was forced to destroy those boats to save American lives. The cartel members on the boats were armed and dangerous enemies of the United States and enemies of our way of life, not remotely comparable to the My Lai massacre. Now, there is an Inspector General hotline that service members can call if they have questions. The hotline tries to preserve confidentiality, but it's not guaranteed because of the national security implications. So, as I mentioned, it's a bind either way if there's a genuine controversy about the legality of an order, and a controversy has not been established here, not even close to being established. How is destroying a drug boat carrying armed and dangerous cartel members and their poison comparable in any way to killing unarmed civilians? Let's not be fooled. The 6 Democrat members of Congress who posted the video seem to be advocating for the nation of Venezuela now. Now, those are the conditions they want to replicate here. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.